Caryatids are traditionally sculpted female figures in stone. They act as columns or pillars supporting another architectural element. In this instance, the Caryatids are freestanding, and we have 4 male and 4 female. They're made of limestone, and they each weigh about 1,000 pounds, and they're approximately 8 feet tall. These Caryatids were originally installed on the facade of the Frick, above the porte cochere, which was a space between the mansion connecting the street. They were deinstalled in 1935. They were then taken to storage for a number of decades, and in the summer 2020, when the Frick was preparing to renovate, they had to be craned out of the building and brought to a storage facility, which is where we first looked at them to evaluate their condition. So we have 8 Caryatids in this group. They will be reinstalled at the Frick in a new space that connects the main museum entrance to the entrance of the Frick Art Reference Library on 71st Street. We believe they were each one solid piece of limestone, and it's interesting because you can see the bedding planes from the block of limestone that they were cut from because of the weathering on the surface. We had to work very carefully with scalpels to remove biogrowth, specifically in the form of old vines. They had years and years of grime and soot residue from being in the basement. We would dampen the surface and then scrub with baby toothbrushes to get in all the nooks and crannies, and they appeared much, much brighter than we anticipated. So there is some variation in the surface in terms of the coloration, but generally they look like a much more cohesive group. Definitely had undergone at least 2 different campaigns of restoration at some point in their history, and we don't know when. Some of them actually had sustained breaks just along the neck and just above the foot level as well. So there was some old mortar and epoxy in these areas, which we cleaned away and have replaced with more aesthetically appropriate materials. We also did some imaging that indicated that there are pins inside those repairs and that they were stable. So our primary concern was to ensure that they were stable, but also to aesthetically integrate those old repairs. Emulating that texture on the surface has been one of the challenges of the project. We're really excited to see the pieces reinstalled. It will be really wonderful to see them upright, as we've been having them on their back for most of the time they're here. They'll be flush up against the wall, paired together, looking at each other, and elevated ever so slightly so you'll look up at the Caryatids. We'll be coming back to do finishing touches on them when they are installed with their final lighting.